And there was one evening, I finished surfing, amazing session. I was walking across the beach, and I thought to myself, it would just be amazing if I could just go home now, or a place to stay, with my own place, and I can just like do some drawings, continue with like my work and business that I was doing. That kind of like planted the seed, right? And then the next day I went to surf the same spot again, sunset, beautiful, walking across the beach, and you just think about it more and more and more. And then like a week later, I was thinking to myself, well, why can't I kind of move here and do my drawings and focus on that business side of things? I was like, what's actually stopping me? I was just like, I have that opportunity now, with the new business, like
Online,
yeah. Like if it is slow, if I move here because it's so cheap to live here, it'll take some of that like financial pressure off of me.
yeah.
So I kind of ticked that box. I was just like, I get to surf almost like every single day as well. Ticks that box.
Crazy,
and
yeah.
like a goal of mine was I always wanted to move to a different country before I was the age of 30. And at that point I was 32. So I was just like, I have the opportunity to do that as well. So for me, it just kind of like, it ticked every single box. And I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just do it. Just do it.
But at that time you were living in England still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so a 4 months trip, you were coming here, thinking about moving here, and then you were actually at one point you were figuring out that it's possible, that you want to do it, and you had online a business already, no?
Kind
Like
of,
you started.
but not really. Yeah, it was more like the market research side of things rather than like the business. But the wheels were in motion of like starting to like set it up.
Yeah. But in England, you were doing a tattoo. You were a tattoo artist, right?
Yeah. So I was doing that full time as well.
Full time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then because you always say like, I don't want a tattoo here,
Yeah,
I'm not tattooing
I'm
here.
not tattooing
If somebody
here.
was asking,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Even I said like, I have needles here, you can use when you're not doing that.
No, I'm not.
So you wouldn't.
No,
Why is that?
because I don't want to focus on that, especially here.
Yeah.
Right. I want to focus on one thing while I'm here, and it's that online business. That's it. So I've been tattooing for 17 years, right? Done it a long time.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love the actual process of tattooing. The business side of things, like, kind of over it now. So like I'm way more invested in pivoting career and focusing on my online business. The actual like process of tattooing, I'm still in love with doing that because it's the same as the process of drawing. Like that's never going to change. It's just a different medium of an artwork. So that's forever. I'm always going to love that. Every time I do tattoo, I'm always going to give it like my full attention. But the business side of things, that's when I'm like, I'm not really paying attention to that as much anymore.
Yeah. But it's not so, it's pretty similar what you're doing now, no? In a way of like, super artsy, right? It's same in the niche of art. You are drawing, because you also said you're already drawing since 25 years. So you were drawing already back in the days when you were tattooing at the same time.
I was drawing way before I was tattooing.
Way before even. Yeah.
My earliest memory is drawing.
Yeah.
So like drawing as from a kid, all through school. I left school at like 16, got into tattooing at 17, which then allowed me to then continue to carry on drawing while I was tattooing as well. So all the people that I've spoke to, like my the market research that I do with my calls and whatnot, a lot of the time their story is they used to draw, or they used to do artwork when they were younger during school. They would leave school, they would get a job, maybe start a family, and then that takes all of their time. And then there's like between a 10 to 20 year period where
Break.
they haven't drawn, and
Yeah,
then they
yeah.
get a little later in life, they then start to pick it up again because they're like, I used to really enjoy this, I now have a bit more time and freedom, and then they start drawing again. So like a lot of the people that I talk to go through that period. So for me, whether or not that would have happened if I didn't get into tattooing, I don't know. But the fact that I did get into tattooing allowed me to then keep drawing and keep doing what I was doing. So I don't know, I just found that quite interesting through all the people that I've kind of spoken
Yeah,
with.
obviously. Right? It's a big reason why you stop, let's say, your passion, right? Something you really enjoy doing. You know, there are always maybe reasons for that. And most of them, it's family, right? Life in general.
Yeah.
And then you stop it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But then because you were tattooing, you continued. But you never wanted to do something like this as a business back in England. You
What,
were
in terms of,
starting
like,
at the
drawing?
end. Yeah, yeah. You know, teaching, showing.
I've always kind of had an interest in it. Like I've done a few workshops back in England as well. And I think, I kind of dabbled with the idea a bit, but it was with COVID. COVID really pushed that idea further along because obviously I couldn't tattoo, so I was drawing a lot more. And then I was filming my drawing. And then I started a YouTube channel because I wanted to like just put out, you know, what I've learned and help people with their drawings. And then I kept on doing it and doing it. I was just like, you know what, this is actually quite fun. I quite actually enjoy doing this. I think maybe I'm now going to take this more serious. And that was like the moment for me. I was just like, right, I now want to. That was like drawing a line in the sand and taking that next step. I'll be like, oh, okay, now I'm going to do this properly. And then I started to focus on it a lot more. There was a point when I first started tattooing. So I started tattooing when I was 17. And I was working in a clothes shop at that point. Mostly in like the evenings, and it was always dead. There was nothing going on. I'd just be stood at the desk, just drawing and whatnot. And all I could think about was just tattooing. That's all I wanted to do. And I remember there was a point in time I had a conversation to myself in my head. And I was just like, it's not going to come to me. That's just not how it's going to work. I need to do something about it. I need to make a move and see if I can, you know, somehow either get an apprenticeship or whatever.
Yeah.
That moment there, that's when I decided to call myself a tattooist. Even though I've never even picked up a machine at that point, I made this decision in my head. I was just like, from this point, I am identifying, I'm calling myself a tattooist. Because like, that's the moment I transitioned, and then I started, you know, going to places, trying to get an apprenticeship, drawing like tattoo designs that I thought people wanted, and then just kind of like slowly built it up from there.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, you know, if you have some goals and some aspirations, always good to already put yourself in that position, no?
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
If you already see yourself in that way, it's going to be more likely that you actually make some or do some actions that person would already do, you know?
100%.
Yeah. And there's also a friend I have, she has also a business, and she's also helping people to actually, you know, move forward in their life regarding their career, you know.
Yeah.
And it's then what she's doing, it's all about prototyping, you know, just doing, because many people, they're actually stuck in theory, you know, they are doing like courses, they do this, they're learning everything, you know, they know so much, but they're stuck in theory, they're not moving, they're not doing, you know. So put yourself in that position where you already be that person, and then you're more likely actually also to do something about it, you know, to do some actions. Yeah, because the person you are maybe right now is not the person you want to be, right? And that's like a difference in like how you act on a day-to-day, you know, that's what I think.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think there's a term for that. It's called mental masturbation. So it's like sitting down and watching or listening to a podcast about being productive. It's a 3-hour podcast about how to better time manage, how to be more focused, how to be more productive. But then you watch that one, and then you watch another one, and then you watch another one.
Yeah.
So you're just
Consuming.
Yeah. All about how to do it.
Yeah.
You're not actually doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. It's
So-
the action after, you know.
Exactly.
Even with books, you know.
Yeah.
You can read 1,000 books. You're
Yeah.
not, putting in the work afterwards. It really doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's also for most people, for example, like when you were saying like, all right, I'm doing my trip, I travel around, and then there's like this beautiful place. I love staying here. What would actually happen if I would do that, So you probably put yourself also in the spot. You check the boxes, you said,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. I could do that. Financial pressure is less, I could live here, surf here, online business, check.
Yep.
And then, you put yourself already by thinking about these things in that spot, And then it's more likely that you also gonna make that move, because many people, I think,
Sure.
have that problem. Also with moving, because it isn't easy, usually because you don't really know,
Yeah.
And you're only thinking, you don't put the action in, and then you're not doing it because you may be scared. It's unknown.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it for you the same when
Of
you
course. Absolutely. But like,
But there was a moment when you said like, okay, that's it. I'm gonna move now.
for sure. I mean, like, I've also done a fair bit of traveling as well. I've also visited other countries for like 3-4 months at a time. So I've kind of, obviously moving is different to going away for 3-4 months, but like the kind of build up towards it, kind of similar, still like that. The unknown is still there. You don't know how the trip's going to go because you're still traveling by yourself. So I kind of already had that experience of kind of knowing what to expect, just I guess on a smaller scale, because it's not moving. Obviously moving is very different because you're putting all of your eggs in one basket. When you leave for like 3-4 months, you've still got some eggs over here and got some eggs over here. So it's like a little easier to like balance. But when you're moving, yeah, of course, like it was nervous, but I also knew if I wasn't going to do it, I was so bored.
Bored?
I was so bored back at home, back in England.
I
I was so done with it. Like, as I say, love tattooing, love actually the physical element of tattooing, but just being in England where I was living, doing the same thing like over and over and over again, I was just done with it. So I think my level of boredom outweighed, I guess, the anxiety and like
the unknown
of-
if that
of-
would work out,
right.
yeah.
So like,
And you already knew it, you knew already what's out there, I think for
For
me it
sure.
was really important that when I saw it, when I was traveling to Australia, all of a sudden the world just opened, and I was like, what's going on,
Yeah.
I started traveling, like there's so much to see, and then
Yeah.
you're going to continue to Asia,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden there's like beautiful beaches, surf, and you could literally live here,
yeah.
you
So when you came here, did you visit before, or did you just move here?
No, I visit also, same like
Okay.
you, yeah.
Okay, right.
2019, 18, 19, after Australia, I was coming to Bali,
Yeah.
and then visit, yeah.
I think that helps.
But it wasn't actually at that point when I was making a decision to maybe try it again to come here,
Okay.
Because there was a friend, 1-2 years later, there was a friend who moved here with his family. And he's actually from my hometown in Germany. So he moved here, and then I split up with my ex-girlfriend, right? And then I started my travel by myself, and then I connected with him again. We talked, and he told me actually he's living here, and I was like, really?
Nice.
I have been there, 1-2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I came visit him, and then I was saying, okay, I'm gonna stay 2-3 months. I'm gonna travel around.
Yeah.
And then I just, stayed, and now it's like 2.5 years, 2.5 years.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Time goes fast as well, right?
Crazy.
Mental. Like I've been here for 14 months now.
Mm-hmm. No, it's
Like that.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's not that and maybe it is. So if you really enjoy and you are in a place where like most of the things, they're just fitting personally to your lifestyle and what you want and what you also don't want. It's not here.
Yeah.
Then I think it's one of the reasons why it's so fast, you know.
For sure. I mean, like when I visited here, when I was just surfing and not doing much during the days, sometimes the time kind of dragged. But like now, because I live here and I'm very focused on what I'm doing, the time just goes so quickly.
Yeah.
So
But you're also doing a lot of work. Because I
try to.
I respect that you are doing so much work. I think
Yeah.
when you were talking to me last time and you were all writing about like calls 5 a.m., 1:30 a.m., you know,
So today,
I don't
I've
know if it
got-
was today.
No,
It was a couple of days
No,
ago.
today I have 7 p.m., 12, 1:30 and 5.
You see, so that's crazy, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, still, you work for yourself, so it's a totally different scenario. I know people who work also for, let's say, German companies, and the hours are like that, you know. So I already think like, oh man, that's hard, you know.
Yeah.
But then I hear you do like 1:30, 5 a.m. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's you need to have you need to be, you know, even consistent with it, you know.
Yeah.
If you know what you want to do and you put in the work, it's gonna work out, no doubt about it. But rarely people do that, right?
The thing is, for me, I can only talk about myself, right? For me,
Yes.
like, I'm not in a position where I have that luxury to not do it at those times because I'm still trying to build it up, right? So
Yeah.
like something valuable that I can offer to people right now is time, right? I have to make it as accessible for them to try and help me get my business off,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
I need that.
Yeah.
So like in my head, I don't have a choice. Okay, you can only do, because, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning for me could be 4 p.m. for them, right? So it's very easy for them. So I need to have that flexibility to try and get this off the ground. Granted, if everything is running fine, you know, I'm hitting all my targets. If somebody wants to book in, which is 3 o'clock in the morning my time, maybe I won't, because I don't have that kind of vulnerability and pressure that I need to try and get. We'll see when we get there. Hopefully I'll get there. But right now I kind of have to do it like that because
Yes, no,
I don't have a
I think
choice.
it's great, you
Yeah.
know, because that shows really that you know what you want to do and you're sacrificing a lot, you know. I mean, it looks like that, and I know it is like that, you know, even though for you, you say it needs to be done that
yeah,
way,
it does.
but it's a lot of sacrifice, you know. I think it's really, you know, that's what I said, you know, not many people are willing to do that, you know.
Yeah. But the thing is, there is a price to pay for that. And I'm still trying to work out whether or not it's kind of worth it, because yes, I need to be as flexible as I can in taking these calls and whatnot. However, I do know, so tomorrow when I do my 7 p.m., midnight, 1 a.m. and then 5 a.m., I know all of the next day I'm going to be fucked. I am, right? Because like lack of sleep. I mean, how old are you now?
33?
33 as well, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so for me, I'm 33 now. If I don't get good sleep, or even just like 5-6 hours sleep, it takes me so long to like recover from that now, because of like I'm a little bit older. So tomorrow I am going to be ruined. So in terms of being like productive after that, in doing more market research, in terms of doing more admin and reaching out to people, I'm going to be less focused and I'm going to have less energy because of it.
Yeah.
So even though, yes, I am doing these calls, it's also then having a negative impact on the other side of that to then get more calls. So I'm still trying to work out whether or not I am doing it the right way, because it's also managing your like energy levels and whatnot. So
Yes, yeah.
does that make sense?
Totally, yeah. It's a process, you know.
Yeah.
it's gonna be like that you're gonna understand maybe, but you need to change then to test,
course.
right? So now it's
Still
like that.
collecting that data, right?
Exactly. You're gonna put the appointments like they need to be regarding the people in England or like wherever the customer are, right? But then maybe if you suffer to not have enough energy to maybe, you know, be in one of the best days, have good performance, maybe then gonna be the day when you say, okay, now I change. I'm gonna focus more on my energy and my, you know, how I gonna perform.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna sacrifice maybe a little bit of the appointments I'm gonna put, right?
I mean, you
The
would have
times.
to, yeah.
Yeah. And then you're gonna understand, you
Yeah.
know, because maybe it's not a big problem for other people to do the calls, a little bit more inconvenient for them, you know.
Yeah.
Easy. It's just maybe just a test.
For
But
sure.
anyways, there's a season for, let's say, everything, right? Sometimes you're just hustling.
Oh, I'm in the
You're-
season of work right now.
Yeah,
100%.
you
Yeah.
exactly, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, you have like the season where you just put in the work, you focus, bam, that's it. You still can surf, you still can do what you want, but it's not really
It's
like
a lot less.
yeah, it's not maybe the most comfortable time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. You know, that's I noticed that already before that you're working a lot, you know. So then I found it really interesting, and I didn't know at the beginning what you're doing, you know.
For me, like, I think most people are as well, right? I'm kind of hard on myself. So if I don't make this into what I want it to be, or even just like sustainable, and I'm not truly honest with myself, and I haven't properly done as much as I could have, and it doesn't go where I want it to be, I know I would just feel bad about myself. I would feel guilty because I know I didn't properly give it that 100%.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. You always been like that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a thing about being lazy, like a fear of like being lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't, you know, waste time on like, I don't know, like scrolling through Instagram and stuff like that?
I still do that.
Yeah?
Especially now, because like at the moment I'm living in social media because that's where I'm doing my market research. That's how I'm contacting people and reaching out to them.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to then
get distracted by doing that.
Yeah.
It's
so
crazy,
like
yeah.
Because I'm spending more time in the Facebook groups and on Instagram, I am also then spending more time in scrolling and whatnot, getting distracted. But I tell you what though, what I have started doing is I've started setting a timer on my phone.
Yeah?
Right? So like 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, a timer. Before, be like, cool, I'm going to work for 10 hours and then you just kind of like go about your day, whatever. The first few times I started actually timing myself, I realized how you lose like 2 hours just like that by getting up, making yourself a coffee, quickly going out to get some food, checking your phone, talking to someone on WhatsApp real quick. Those 10 hours of working reduces like by a lot. So I started setting a time on my phone. Every time I went to the toilet, I'd pause it. If I'm messaging someone back on WhatsApp, I pause it. So I can see I'm actually doing a solid, concentrated, focused 8 to 10 hours of work with like without any distractions.
So it's a little bit like reverse how you do it, no?
What do you mean?
So you are just starting the timer the moment you wake up? And then when you do something which is not work related, you stop it, and then at the end of the day you see if it's 10 hours.
So
this is how I just understood.
So I'll wake up, normal routine, breakfast, coffee, whatever, and then I go, right, now I'm sitting down to do work. That's when I start it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then you stop it when you do something else.
If I need to go to the toilet, I pause it.
Yeah, but you would say 10 hours per day you're working?
It fluctuates.
Yeah.
Obviously now doing these calls at God knows what time in the morning, like it becomes a lot more difficult.
Yes, yeah.
Because like I now don't really have that window of being able to work 10 hours completely straight, because if I've got a call at midnight, 1 a.m. and then 5 a.m., I need to try and get sleep somewhere as well.
Yeah.
So then from 5 a.m., if you do the 10 hours, including sleep, you can't. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
But then I'm also not including maybe the hour conversation I'm having with each call, even though it should, because that is still technically working.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
What do you mean? Yeah.
But I don't class that as being in the work, because that's just a conversation with somebody rather than actually, I guess, doing hard work of trying to like find someone or.
But that's the most important work, actually.
I know.
It's to make a sale, you know. That's
for
like
sure.
everything you do.
Yeah.
It just comes to that point at the end,
Yeah.
to that 30-minute, 1 hour.
Yeah.
And there you need to perform. That's like the work part, really.
It's the important
Maybe not physical,
part.
you know, to do hard work, but it's really the mental to talk with somebody and
100%.
you know, and tell him
100%.
that what you're offering is the right thing for the person, if it's the right thing.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But I see it as that phone call is a result through that hard work.
Also, yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
So that's why I don't class it as in that window of that 8 to 10 hour, because that's just a result of that.
Yeah. But if you would have 5 calls,
Yeah.
and all the calls
5
go
hours.
to and all the calls are not good, for example,
Yeah.
it's total waste, you know.
I wouldn't say it's a waste.
But you know what I tried to say, because if you can have maybe one call instead of 1 hour, only 20 minutes, the result is same. Maybe you make a sale, you know. So maybe then it's gonna cut the time, the work time in like a quarter, you know.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, because then it adds up. If you have more calls, it's like so much time at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I had a call the other day, 1 o'clock in the morning, right? She,
But you do video calls? Sorry.
yeah, Zoom.
I had Zoom calls.
Zoom, yeah.
And you put the light and everything.
Just normal.
They
yeah.
know it's night. They know you talk about them
Sometimes.
freely about like.
Sometimes they don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just in like my studio. I have
Yes,
the lights
yeah.
on. Yeah, so it's just like sometimes they'll see like on the location in the Zoom call that it's set for Asian time, Asia time, and so yeah, with this woman, obviously there's like messages back and forth a little bit, and her messages came across like a bit rude, and you know she's an older woman, and you know with like older people when they message sometimes it feels a bit blunt just because it's just how they message, right? So I just kind of took it as that, hopped on the call with her. Within like 20 seconds I was just like, she's so rude. So rude, right?
Shit.
I barely even asked my first question, and immediately I was just like, even if this woman is a good fit, I don't want to enroll her because I don't want to work with this woman.
Yeah.
Right? And I was just like, I woke up at 1 o'clock for fucking dealing with this fucking rude person.
Crazy, no?
You know what I did? In my head, I was just like,
emergency.
I'm just so tired. I was just like, and I can't be asked to now go through this whole process to then tell her I don't think the program is a good fit, for her to then ask why, and then me give her my honest opinion of why, because I don't think we would work well together. I didn't want to wait 40 minutes to get to that point.
Yes, totally understand.
Right? So I asked her a question. She started answering it, and I just held the button on my laptop until it turned off.
No way.
I just turn off
Turn
my
off the
laptop.
computer.
I just turn it off, right? Because I was just like, fuck this woman. I'm not dealing with her. She's so incredibly rude. I already know I don't want to work with her. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Like,
Fuck
if
it.
she wasn't so rude, I'd be like, cool, just out of respect, I'll go through the whole process with her.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time, if people aren't a good fit, I still enjoy the conversation with them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I still can even just maybe get some new information. Maybe they've read a drawing book that I don't know of yet, right? There's still something that I can kind of like put into like my spreadsheet or whatever. But with her, I was just like, she's so fucking rude.
Man, I never did that, but I had also rude people on the call. But that's really like something. Turning off the
I
computer.
did. Yeah, I just turned it off. I was just like, fuck her.
And then you went to bed.
I
That's
went
it.
straight to bed. I went straight to bed.
That's crazy, bro. That's I never heard that before, man. That's
Yeah.
really
and
funny.
I've never done it before. That's how bad she was. That's how not. She was honestly. She was so rude.
No, if somebody's rude, obviously you have to. It's actually a beauty of that kind of work. You can decide with who you want to work with.
Yeah.
And if it's not about the money, you can make a decision just for peace of mind to not take a client on, which is like, rude.
Yeah.
Because you already know there are going to be problems,
I think
and
even
it's
if
for the both of us, it's going to be better,
For sure. I think even if it is about the money, you still shouldn't take them on.
Yes,
Even
I mean,
if you're
when I
desperate for the
started,
money.
I was also like in survival mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
So, sometimes I was probably like 2-3 times I was doing that because of the money, even though the call wasn't that not great,
Yeah.
and I knew there gonna be problems.
Yep.
And I knew there gonna be like headaches.
Yep.
But I still did it because I was in survival mode, I needed to get like money in, to actually, push my
And
my
how
project.
did that go?
Yeah, I needed to do it. It was a lot of headache.
Yeah.
That's why I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't, turn off the computer.
Are they?
But I would.
Are they still your client now?
No, that's a long time ago.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
right,
it
right.
was.
So the way that with my program, the way that works is they basically have me. They're in the program for life.
Yeah.
So they basically then live under my roof for life.
Mm.
So even if I needed that money, I'm not having this. I'm not making a commitment to a person who can reach out to me for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
You
I
can get
understand.
fucked. Yeah, it's not happening.
No. So maybe for people who are, I mean, if you one day gonna go into survival mode, for what reason, you could just say there's a 3 months program and I'm happy to host you. And then after 3 months, bam, out. If it's only about money, probably it's gonna be, an easy thing to do, But obviously I would also wouldn't want to have a person rude on the call, having for life under my roof. No way. No. It's not worth it,
Yeah. I mean, I could be a real piece of shit, right? And if that person was a good fit but was rude, I could enroll them, keep them for like a month, and then just kick them out.
Yeah.
And there's no refunds to the program. So I could be a real piece of shit and just take their money and kick them out.
It's not worth it.
It's definitely not. I mean, that's a horrible thing to do anyway,
it's not,
right?
so
Like,
totally.
it's just best just to, if the red flags are there immediately, just avoid it. There's literally no point. It will make your life a living hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never done that before. Felt good,
Yeah, I
good.
can imagine.
Yeah.
No, it's a crazy thing to do. But you also, when you were, for example, now moving here, and then there are people you're gonna meet here because it's obviously like a small area, people you're gonna see surfing, etc. You also had like people who you found like rude, here, or like you made friends here, and there were some people rude to you, or you know what I mean, like in a way of like how to make friends here. Was it for you easy to do that, or
I mean, for me, like, I'm an artist, right? And I think like it's innate of us that we're relatively introverts, right? So I think just making friends is always more more difficult. I would definitely say it's more difficult.
what do you mean? Art for artists is more difficult, or for people who are introverted?
Both. So a lot of artists are introverted, right? Obviously other introverted people, I would probably say so as well, for sure. And yeah, it takes time. Definitely took time for me. In terms of people being rude, maybe one person. One person out when I was surfing, which, to be fair, he kind of had a right to be a little bit rude to me because I was
dropping in.
I wasn't dropping in, but like I would get a wave and I'd go straight back to the peak again. I did a couple of times, but in my defense, it wasn't just me. Everybody was doing it, but for whatever reason, he just honed in on me, and then that was it. But like that was the only kind of situation I've had here where people have actually been rude.
You know what actually happened once here in these 2.5 years, that somebody screamed at me in the when I was taking a wave. He
Yeah.
was screaming, like Australian guy. He was
Okay.
screaming and he was so angry. He was screaming, "You fucking kook!" That was hilarious, man.
Yeah.
You know, it was crazy. I never got screamed at like that, you know, in surfing, because I'm also really easy, calm.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I never worry about like taking that wave, and if there are other people, you know, I don't care.
Yeah.
But that I was taking that wave, I was, you know, losing a little bit balance. My board was, you know, shooting to his direction, which was kind of, you know, a little bit dangerous. But he was already duck diving. But then he came up and he was like, "You fucking cool," you know. I was like, you know, "Sorry, bro," and that's it, you know. But
So it wasn't because you took the wave; it was because you bailed in front of him, basically.
yeah,
Right.
I lost balance. I couldn't put my foot on the board just to hold it, you know, that it's not, you know, going straight
Yeah.
to him.
Yeah.
Nothing happened, but he freaked out completely, you
Yeah.
know. It's fine, you know, you don't see the people anyways, and I don't actually care, you know. But that was
I don't know. I saw my guy a few times since.
Yeah?
Yeah, in like cafes and restaurants and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like part of it, you know.
Yeah.
Easy, nothing happened. Easy.
Yeah. In my defense, though, I say in my defense, like after that, I guess, confrontation, like 10 minutes later, like I was just sat there, just like, maybe I was being a bit of, I was in my head at that point. Like I was going through, I'm making excuses now. There's no excuse, but like, I was going through stuff with my ex-missus now. So I was like thinking about that a lot. I wasn't really thinking about anybody else, which was his point. His point was, you're only thinking about yourself right now. Stop being like a prick. Which I guess was kind of true because, as I said, like I was just in my own world surfing. And then like 10 minutes later, I was just like, in my head, I was like, like I've not lived here long. I've only been here a couple months. I don't know if this guy lives here. Like I don't want to start something that might, you know, trickle out or spread into something bigger.
Yes.
Am I going to see him again? I don't know who he knows in terms of like groups of friends. So I was just like, I paddled back over to him. I was just like, hey, I just want to apologize. Like you were right. Like I wasn't thinking about anybody else. So, you know, I just wanted to say, you know, I'm sorry. What's your name? Told me his name. And then I thought it was cool. And then like he was okay. And then he just started again, which was really weird. Yeah, and then he was just like, "You're not even fucking good surfer anyway." I was just like, okay.
What the fuck?
What's that got to do with anything? Like, I've come over here to apologize. You seem to have accepted it, and then you just kind of changed again. And then a local came over, and he was just like, "Hey guys, chill out. It's fine.
Yeah.
Plenty of ways for everybody." I was like, "Yeah, I know." And I was just like, in my head, I was like, "Well, I've now done what I thought was the right thing to do.
Yes,
I can now leave this situation, admitting I was wrong." Try to then like make it better, and the way he's now dealt with it is now in his court. Like,
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I have like, whenever something, let's say, there's like people who do something really shitty or something rude, you know. It doesn't actually need to be that they do that to me. In general, you know. You know what I always think? I always think about like, try to find a reason why they would do it, because sometimes you don't know the full story, you know.
Yeah.
There could be something really shitty happen to them, you know, in the morning.
They probably going
something
through
to the
with their missus
family
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I always think, you know, that's why I never get actually really angry with somebody, because I don't know the full story, you know. And there can be, and most of the time there is, something's going on in their lives, which if you would know it, you would even say like, can I help you, or like what, you know, I'm sorry that happened, but you don't know that, you know.
For sure.
So I'm thinking always that way, you know. That's why I never would say like, you know, something to anyone. If it's like really serious, of course you need to stop them, or like, you know. But because it happens a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did think like, I mean, as I said, I've been here like 14 months ago. So this happened a few months after a few months since I've been here. And that still lives in my head, right? That interaction, it still lives in my head. I still think about it. And I think, why, instead of him just going from like 0 to 100, There was no, hey, chill out, we're all here to surf kind of thing. There was no like stepping stone in it. It was just straight to 100,
Yeah.
which I thought was interesting, because usually there's a, hey, just relax, it's cool. And then if
Yeah.
that person keeps doing it, then it kind of escalates a little bit further.
Yes, yeah. So same scenario. There might be something fucked
Maybe
up.
something was happening with him.
You don't know that this story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be. It's a really good example of like going from 0 to 100 again after
Yeah.
saying like, hey, easy.
For sure. But he's the only person I've had like, I guess, a bad experience with.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
a
yeah.
rude person.
It's rarely happening. I think everybody's still easy in the water. Totally.
Yeah. Unless you're with Greta.
Unless you're with Greta, huh?
Yeah. She gets angry at people.
Easy, bro. Nice. So that means now, obviously, you live here. You have no plan of like moving, right?
So
Or there's some thoughts in your head.
there was a plan. When I first decided I was going to move here and do what I'm doing, I put like a 2-year limit on it.
Limit in the way of like you try it for 2 years,
Yeah.
and then after you.
Because I got into a relationship before I left to come here. Maybe like 6 months before coming here.
So 2.5 years ago.
No.
Now,
Yeah.
6 months ago, you.
No. So 2.5 years ago was when I visited here.
Yeah.
So
Now you're 14 months here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So 6 months before I came here.
Yeah.
So like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I got into a relationship with somebody, and they knew my plans, and it was the idea was be here for 2 years, see if I can do whatever I'm doing, get it up off the ground, and then make a living from it. We're now not together anymore, so like that timeline of it being 2 years,
Dulled down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, like I'm going to be here for longer than 2 years.
Yeah.
Considering that I've already been here for over a year already, and it's already gone so fast.
Yeah.
And in terms of where I want to be in that business is like nowhere near at the moment. So like I'm definitely going to be here for longer. Being here where we are right now, I don't know, because it's getting so busy right now. In a year's time, this place is going to be like even more busier. The whole place is pretty much under construction, right? But I'll definitely be in Indonesia for a while. Whether or not I'll be in this specific place, I don't know.
Yeah, easy. You're just gonna see how you feel, huh?
Yeah.
It's always
much.
about that, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. And here now, you were seeing someone here now? How is it with the love life here?
Love life.
Dating, it's possible, easy.
I
for
mean,
you?
like, I've been on a few dates,
Yeah.
but like
Nothing serious or what?
definitely nothing serious. And I'm also like, that's for me, that's a bit on a back burner right now, because I am so focused on doing what I'm doing with the business. The dating here as well, like it's definitely more difficult, because it depends what you're looking for, right? Because it is a touristy area, you have lots of people coming and going.
Yeah,
But if you're
yeah.
looking for something a little bit more stable, the long term is here. There's not a lot of us. And also I feel like with my experience here, in terms of like friendships and friendship groups, it is quite cliquey, right? You have like groups of friends, and sometimes it crosses over. And I do feel that, and again, this is just going with past experiences as well,
Yeah.
that if you then do get into a relationship with somebody and it doesn't work out, it changes the dynamic of the group, or it can do entirely. And then that kind of it just kind of makes then the whole living situation difficult, because it is such a small community here, right? So like, if I also am deciding that I am going to, I don't know, maybe wanting to take things a little bit more serious with somebody, I have to make sure with myself that that is actually what I want to do, because I feel the consequences of it not working out. I mean, we're old enough, we're mature, we should be able to like handle that anyway, but sometimes that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then it becomes awkward in all these friend groups and everything like that as well. So right now it's not something I'm properly focusing on. But
no, exactly. That's what I was already thinking about, that you're more focused on the business. But I know what you mean. Because I also had a relationship and then it didn't work out, right? Here, I don't know, let's say a year ago.
Okay.
But it was like that she wasn't actually really in the, let's say, friend circle. So it made it easy, you know?
Yeah.
So you don't really see each other a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, it wouldn't be a problem. When I see you, I say hi and, you know, how are you? Easy. It's really nothing serious. But I think you're right. Yes, if it's in your circle of friends, you know, it could make things more awkward, right?
100%.
Yeah, totally.
100%.
But still, you know, if you think about it in that way, because you said now about people coming and going, I think that makes it hard.
Yeah.
To, you know, if you see somebody, because for me it's easy when you surf, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy to say like, let's go surfing, you know, and that's, you know, that's already it. And then you just, you know, share like really nice and exciting moments already. And you can do that every day, right? So you get to know a person if you want to. So I find that part pretty easy, you know. But then obviously the hard part is when people just leaving.
Oh, meeting people is very easy.
Meeting people, it's so easy. Yeah. You know, it's really easy because you share usually the
common interest.
Exactly.
Right.
But then the leaving part, like you're living on this touristic place. Yep. It's, you know, it's fucked up. Yeah. Because people coming and going, you know. Yeah. And then you don't know. Yeah. And then you don't know if you should put the energy into that, you know.
Because they're leaving anyway.
Because they're leaving anyway, you know. So that's like, for me, it's like, it's hard to, you know, to go through that again and again, right?
And what's even worse is if you decide that you do put that energy in and you know they're leaving and it still doesn't go anywhere. And you're like, great. Not even, I've like, sounds bad, wasted my time, but like, you know, I've sacrificed that time I could have been using for like something else and now it didn't work out anyway. And you're like,
yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, that's the dating. It's you know, it's a thing in itself, right? You need to protect yourself a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah. For sure. But we also getting older, you know. It's not that, you know. Nah, it's okay, easy, you know.
I think it's easier for us though, right? Because we're guys.
What do you mean?
Well, we're getting older.
Ah, you mean like the consequences of getting older?
Yeah.
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 Why would you say that?
Because we don't really have like a time limit. Girls do, right?
Yeah, okay. I understand where you're going, yeah.
So I feel like there's more pressure for them.
That's for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think these days, when I'm going to go through the last months and years, let's say here, I think these days less women actually want to have kids. I just noticed it. I don't know, when I just to speak with people and I know what's their lifestyle and all these things, maybe it's because also these kind of people coming here.
I was going to say.
Yeah, you know, maybe it's that actually. Yeah. It's not really a thing anymore, you know, to like have, you know, family, because people coming here, they actually chose the different lifestyle, right? That what we were just doing now, you know. So maybe actually, that's the reason for that, you know.
Like, so going back to like tattooing, I owned a business with another guy called Adam, right? And we're the exact same age, tattooing for the exact amount of time. He's been tattooing 17 years as well. And he's gone down that route. So a few years ago, he came to me because I was still like going off and traveling and whatnot. And I decided, I was like, this is cool. I want to do this a bit more. He then decided that he wanted to settle down and have a family. So like we came to an agreement of like business side of things. And, you know, he stayed there. He now has a family. I think his son is almost 3 years old now, which is crazy. And now to prove your point, I've moved here because I've gone away from that.
Yeah.
Right? So I think
Totally.
it is because people being here, they're less likely to have a family because they've moved away from that.
Exactly.
Although
Yeah.
Julia's just recently had a kid. You know who Julia is?
Yeah, I think she from the Netherlands.
That's
No?
the one.
Yeah.
The photographer. She's recently had
I
a
mean,
kid.
it still happened, you
Yeah.
know, for sure. Yeah,
I
but the
don't know.
majority different. So they were just choosing the different lifestyle.
Yeah. I mean, she's had a
Exactly.
kid with a local as well. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that helps because I don't even know where would you start having a kid here in terms of schools and education.
So that's like the unknown, what we talked about before, but moving here, you know. You know there's a way because I have friends with kids here, you know. I think it's going to be easy once
Okay.
you would start it.
Is the education good here?
Yeah, I think it's fine. There's
Is it?
international. I don't know.
What are you talking about?
But I have friends. I can
I
clearly.
mean, I don't know how good the education is here, but what I do know is every time I interact with a local, you know what it is. If you, in terms of like how they treat their businesses or how they run cafe or whatever, sometimes something so obvious they don't do because they don't know. Does that then come through like
Yeah.
education? I don't know if education is so good here just because.
Yes. I think, of course, if you compare, let's say, the European schools with schools in Indonesia, okay, you know, there will be a difference,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
But there, as I said, I think there's international schools in Asia, you know.
Okay.
People who come from Europe here, living here with their kids, they put them in these schools. But by the way, and that's going to be maybe interesting too. So if you would have a kid, okay,
Yeah.
how do you, because, you know, in me personally, when I think about like, you know, raising a kid, it's also going to be interesting by me teaching him a lot. You know what I mean? Because there's some things in school which personally I would not even want that my kid is going there, you know, because I
Sure.
can, you know, maybe like the basics, math and all that stuff, okay, but still teaching about life.
Teaching. Yeah.
It's, you know, it's something I think I would probably do
Yeah.
rather than put him in like, I don't know, like a room and you're gonna go through some stuff which you don't use, you know. And the
Sure.
world is changing anyways, you know how it is with all the digital stuff now, you know. So I think it's gonna be also different how you actually educate your kid.
I would say so.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not planning of having kids because I don't have a partner, but still, you know, I think
You don't need a partner to have a kid.
maybe I'm gonna adopt one.
Maybe.
What do you mean you don't need to have a partner to have a kid?
I mean, you could just get someone pregnant and have a kid.
And
You don't have
ask,
to be with that person,
and
do
ask
you?
her if she wants to get pregnant for me.
No. You
What do you
just
mean?
fool around and she falls pregnant. But you're not into the woman. You're not into him.
Yeah, but it's gonna be headaches.
Of course.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying you don't
no, I'm
have
not-
to have a partner.
I'm not doing that.
Oh, yeah, no, fuck that.
Yeah. And then adopting, it's also maybe not the right way to go if you could have kids because it's not yours, right? I mean, you know, I respect it if you want to do that, but still, personally, I wouldn't do it because it
not?
wouldn't be your DNA, your kid. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, if you are good with yourself, you know, and you know you're smart, you know what person you are, and you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
You want that this what you have inside also goes then to another person, and you want to have a kid which actually comes from you instead of like having a kid which you adopt and you really don't know, you know, what
There's
person
two types
that
of
is.
adoptions, though. What type are you talking about? Because it could be you and your partner go somewhere to adopt a kid, or does your partner already have a kid?
No, I'm talking about, yeah, me and my partner, we go.
Gotcha.
For people who can't get pregnant, I
Yeah.
totally get it. I would probably do the same. You know, that it's the only way, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
But being able to have a child, I would never do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I don't know why we were talking about that, but I think,
I think it's pretty normal, though.
yeah. All right, easy, bro. So that means you're gonna stay here. We're still gonna surf.
That's the plan.
We're still gonna catch some waves. Maybe I'm gonna start shortboarding again.
We'll see. You've been on a longboard too much.
I'm gonna ditch the longboard, but we will see. Yeah, easy.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and any exciting future plans, or like future goals now, also maybe not about the business or the business you're doing right now, but what's really in your mind where you want to go?
Yeah, I want to explore this lifestyle more.
Yeah.
But I can only do that once I'm in a better position with the business.
Totally makes sense. Yeah.
So the goal is to get the business to a certain place, so I can then have the goal of exploring this lifestyle more. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, no?
I would say so.
Yeah. Easy.